All right, welcome back. Last feature we're going to add today, right, is really what got the whole idea started in my own mind. Is what I wanted to create an app for was for actually a game that I play with my family when we're taking road trips, right? And that's the whole idea that whenever we're driving around, we look at license plates on cars, and the goal is to try to find license plates to see cars from all 50 states, right? Inevitably, right? So no one knows how to draw the states exactly how they should be. So we could have a little printout or something like that if we wanted to. But wouldn't it be more fun if you had an app to do that, right? So actually load it up on a tablet, and as you find them, go ahead and click the different states, right? And have them sort of respond in some way. So really a couple things going on here. So the first thing is that you need to know what the boundaries of the states are. And my original thought was I can probably put some 4 or 5 sided polygons, and they'll be really rough, and it'll be super ugly, but it'll get the job done because that just doesn't sound like fun work to do. Especially when you have some of them, right? So Colorado, Wyoming, easy, right? Alaska, not so much, right? Massachusetts, Michigan, lots of coastlines and everything really kind of mess us up. But if we don't worry about it too much, we could at least get polygons. Now it turns out that, oh thank God, someone already has done this for us here. I am grateful for this. So there's a couple different sites. So this first one right here was one that actually gives, so here's US state overlays. It's beautiful, right? I mean, you can see here that yeah, that's just wonderful, right? That's a pretty good level of granularity there. Even if they aren't perfect, they are certainly close enough. They're excellent. When you do this, right, they actually give you an XML file, right? I liked this one because it gave us some colors too, and colors are fun. There was another one that was in there that also there was another reference that had boundary information in JSON format, which might be nicer to parse, but it didn't have the colors. So I went for XML, and then we need to parse it, right? So again, I know you're here to learn about maps. You're not here to learn about XML parsing, but it's worth hearing about a little bit about how I did this. So basically, I found an example in the developer docs that talks about writing XML parsers, and they had like a Stack Overflow feed that they were parsing. So they wanted to be able to take this XML right here and to extract it into objects. And that's exactly what I wanted to do because I had some XML data that was just formatted differently. And in fact, if you look inside your raw file, you'll see this is what I downloaded from the site that I showed you. So for each state, it gives the name of the state, and they pick a color. They have lots of different colors that are all sort of subtly different from each other, but most importantly, each one has a list of points here, and you see like we would have guessed, like Alaska is huge, Alabama's quite a bit shorter, Arkansas, and all the way down, as you can see, some of them are pretty big, some are small, all the way down to the last one, which I love. Here's Wyoming, right? So 4 points, and then connecting back to the beginning. Super nice. There's all the work for you is done inside the utilities class here. So I have a method called getStateBoundaries that does the parsing. If you're interested in how to open up the XML and how to parse it, all of it is there, and it really is very much just built on the example that I showed you for Stack Overflow. Okay. I also have a state boundary method or a class model object here that just has the name, color, and then a list of vertices, right? So let's start with that, right? So this is sort of the main thing. If I want to kick this off, is I'm going to go back up to main activity, and actually even while it's getting the map, I'm also going to call this this method right here. So get state boundaries, and it takes a context. So we'll pass that guy in. Whoops, and this guy right here returns a list of state boundaries. So let's go ahead and save this off. So my state boundaries. All right. And I want a field. Okay. And it's importing it. Let's see, does it need to be fully qualified? Probably not, as long as it does the import correctly. Okay, great. So we've got state boundaries. that's the tedious work, and that's done. And like I say, you're more interested in what happens with the maps, no doubt. So let's go back here and talk about that. So basically a couple different things, right? So once you have the boundaries, we're going to create them, right? So basically, color them, all right, so that they show up initially mostly transparent, and then when I click on them, I want to be able to color it, sort of full color, all right? So these guys are just polygons. So here's some documentation that is really, really nice, and I used this quite a bit when I was, in fact, this whole site is really nice. The developer docs are decent. Within shapes, so there's actually different ones. You'll see these polylines and polygons and circles and all sorts of fun stuff that you can do. And polygons are basically just, as you can see, a series of coordinates, right? So if I give it a list of coordinates, then it just basically fills them in. So from first all around to the different points, and then it'll connect the first and the last as needed. Okay. The basic idea here is that I create a Polygon Options object here, and I create a new one, and I'm going to add just a list here of coordinates. Okay, and then when I add it here, then I can just call it add polygon, and that'll do the work that I need. Okay. Let's see, and I'm trying to think of anything else that's super interesting in here. So you can create hollow ones and everything by adding holes if you want, and there's a whole, this Polygon Options has a bunch of different parameters. Okay. But let's take and do some fun stuff with our state boundaries. So I'm going back. Once my map is ready, the last thing I want to do is draw my polygons. So this is going to be a loop over all the state boundaries. So for each state boundary, I'm going to have to draw it. So for each state, not what I wanted. For each state boundary, maybe SB for state boundary, in my list of state boundaries, I want to do the following. All right, so I want to add a polygon, right, like so, and I'm gonna add in this new Polygon Options, and I'm gonna string together sort of what I want. So I know that I'm gonna want a fill color. What else am I gonna need here? So I'm gonna here, excuse me, I want to, let's see, stroke width I think I want. So I want to set the stroke width. So stroke width, like so. I want to add, and I can add a single point, I can add a variable number of them, or I can add anything that's iterable. So add all is really what I want here, like so. And that's probably about it. I guess one more thing that I set that I almost forgot about was I want to end up detecting clicks on this, so I'm going to make it clickable. All right, like so. So let's fill in the information that we need. So add all is probably the easiest thing because this information is stored in my state boundaries. So state boundaries have a color, have a name, and let's see, they should have a get vertices, and it looks like for some reason, I think when I was cleaning up code before, I mistakenly got rid of that code. So I'm going to go back in here. I'll try to get this fixed before I give it to you, but I might forget. So let's go ahead and add a getter and setter for vertices. And now we've got get vertices, all right? So that should be better. So sb.get vertices, right? And that's going to return that list of lat longe there. Let's pick some other things. I know I picked some ahead of time. So the stroke width on this guy I'll set to be 1, and the fill color is maybe a little bit more involved, not a whole bunch, but I experimented with some different things, and well, I'll let you know what I did here. So so fill color is going to be, so I get that out of, I have a get color here that returns the color int. It comes from a state boundary, so each state has its own color. And what I wanted to do was to be able to play around with the alpha channel. So I'm going to set alpha equal to 10. Now on a scale of 0 to 255, 10 is almost transparent. You're going to see a slight, a very slight tinge of color here, but that's going to be the unselected color. So I have this guy, and then I'm going to update the fill color, and there was this color utils class within the graphics library that has like a set alpha component, right? So I give it a color, and I give it this new alpha, and it updates it for me. So I'm going to give it my old fill color and this hard-coded alpha value of 10 that I want, and this is going to make it almost totally transparent. Okay. Like so. All right, so I should see transparent polygons if I run it now. Now, even though I made them clickable, I'm not going to be able to click them because I haven't put a callback yet, but we'll take care of that in a second. All right, so running it, it might be hard to see, but there is slight little bits of color here, okay, to each of these states. So we're good so far. All right, let's make the dark color show in, which is more interesting. So I've made each of these guys clickable. So what I want to do now is detect those clicks. Back here in the documentation, you'll see that because I set it as clickable, then I have an on polygon click listener that will check to see whether or which one we've clicked. Right. So anytime we click a polygon, then we're gonna have this on polygon click that's going to be called. All right. And it says right here that if you have a bunch of them, now ours are clearly separate. All right, they're state boundaries. But otherwise it has to do with the z index, right? So it only presses on the top one. Okay, just something to be aware of. All right, so here what I'm going to do is set my polygon, so on polygon click listener, and let's make a new one right here, and it's going to tell me which polygon was clicked. Right, so so that's cool. So I'm not really caring. I'm just doing this with display, so I don't really care, about which state it was. I just want to toggle its colors. I just want to change the transparency of the polygon, and it turns out that's really not that hard to do, because there is a for all of these different options here, there are some setters. So I could set the fill color to be sort of a new fill color, right? Whatever that is. So let's go ahead and get the fill color and modify it. Right. So let's pull out the polygon, and we'll get its fill color. So that's its current color. And if it's unselected, then it's going to be this one with a really light alpha value. And I think for this right now, I mean, there's lots of ways we could do this, but I think I'd like to toggle them back and forth, right? So I'm going to have some sort of a statement here that I'm going to set my alpha, and if I just wanted them to always go dark, then maybe I hard coded into 95, and then I use that color sorry, it was the color utils, and it was set alpha component, and you give it the old color, and you give it your alpha channel. Okay. And this is actually even a little bit simpler thing. So this is just going to say once you find it, you click it, you change it to be solid, and then you're done. Okay. So let's actually check this first just to see what we think. So here's our states, and let's click. All right, went to run it and actually see that I have a bug in my code. So I want to update this fill color here. I was clicking on it and it didn't look like anything was happening, and I guess I know why. All right, so I'm going to run that and see what we get. But what I really want, I think maybe it's a little bit more interesting for what we're doing right here, is to be able to toggle them. So if the alpha value is 95, well, no, let's see. So I want to set it to 95 if it's 10. Otherwise, I want to go back and forth. So I think I can just use a ternary here. So if, let's see, so I have to get the alpha here from this guy. So if the alpha of my fill color is equal to 10, then make it 95. Otherwise set it to 10. Okay, and these guys should probably be constants as well. So this 10 here and the 95 should be constants. Let's see what we got here. Whoops, I want that on top. All right, so this is just the basic version. So click on a state, and I can start changing states colors all over the place. It's a little bit harder because I'm also detecting marker clicks, so I have to zoom in a little bit to be able to change some of those like that. Clicking on them again doesn't do anything. That was the basic version before I put in the ternary, so we'll run it one more time. All right, so let's do a final check here. So if I click on one of these guys, so here's Iowa, and if I click it again, then it unchecks. So I can check a whole bunch of these, and it looks like it was a little bit too quick here, and it did some zooming. So I confess that I haven't totally figured this out here. There's some states that it doesn't show polygons for. So if yours isn't showing anything for like Missouri or Tennessee or Alabama, it's not you. It's something going on in my code. If you zoom out to different levels, you can actually see they actually will fill in. Right, so there's Tennessee, and I think I can get Alabama as long as I can click on it. Yeah, there we go. And then of course I can unselect here stuff as I wanted to, so the toggle works. Okay, that's about it. I also couldn't resist the urge to actually make those 10 and 95 constants. So 10 is transparent, and 95 is translucent. It's not fully opaque, because as you can see, you can still see through them somewhat to the state underneath. Okay. It's our last feature. Come back next time for our summary, right? So just a tiny bit more to go.